Hello there. It's Thursday. It's 8:30. It's another edition of Off the Leash, the pandemic talk show that just won't stop. Wear a mask, everyone, then I can stop doing this show. I hope you're well. I hope everyone that you know is well. Here in Nova Scotia, I think we're on day 13 or 14 with not a single case of COVID-19. I shouldn't say it out loud. I am jinxing us, I know, but we've been through this before as well. And then we had a few cases. Anyway, it's great to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. This is our way of staying in touch with you all. Maybe raising a smile on a Thursday. We started doing this 4 nights a week for what felt like a lifetime, and now we're down to 1 night a week. And I'm happy to report that this show will continue in some form in the fall, when Neptune launches a digital platform that will bring you some entertainment throughout the fall months and into the winter, I guess. And Off the Leash is just one of many shows that we're going to be bringing you, some theatrical, some like this, talk shows, entertainment, fun activities. So more on that in the coming weeks. Tonight, I am very honored to have with me as our guest a man that came to Halifax, I guess, oh my goodness, was it 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, and stole the hearts of our audience and of our community. And I kind of like him too. Recently, when he came back, we were able to finally give him this piece of hardware. There it is. Andrew Prashad won a Merit Award for outstanding performance by a supporting actor in our production of Cinderella only a short while ago. And then he came back and reprised the role. And I'm very happy that he is with me in studio today. Please welcome Andrew Prashad to the live stream. Hello. How are you?
Good. I'm good. How you doing, Jer?
I'm good. I just before we came online, I told you I was going to tease you about the fact that you have the best camera setup during the whole COVID-19 crisis in the world, because you are always perfectly focused and everything behind you is just slightly blurry.
Yeah, it's you have to put the tools to use. You paid money for them.
Right?
Use them somewhere. So
when you're allowed to travel, I need you to come here and help me sort out this mess of a system that I've got, because I am not. I'm the blurry one. Yeah, but that might just be the red wine. I don't know.
Well, that's not a problem. I can fix that for you.
Cheers. It's so lovely to have you here. We have spoken numerous times during COVID-19, so I feel like I'm sort of keeping in touch with you. But
yeah.
I know that there are a lot of people watching that will remember your turn as Boutons, the French Canadian Boutons character in that was a terrible accent. Sorry. In Cinderella. I think we should probably start with that. But then I do want to sort of delve a little deeper into Andrew's past during the course of our chat. And now you look really nervous.
I mean, hey, I'm here. I'll answer.
Okay, good. Folks, also, if you have a question for Andrew, feel free at any point to ask. I just want to bring up a picture that actually I have this picture on my wall in my office. I don't think you know this. Or maybe you do, but anyway.
Hey!
Look at that handsome group. Now, that was the first time we did Cinderella.
Yeah.
So missing from that photo is Troy Adams, who took over a role the second time, but both equally. And yeah. And Stefan as well. Yes, of course. Yeah. Instead of David. Yeah. So so each end. So what I could actually do is just crop the photo.
That's it.
And then just add them in. But tell me a little bit, if you can, about your time with that show. That's a big question, but let's just get that out of the way.
Sure. My time with Cinderella. It was. Well, let's start with the audition.
Oh, okay.
I mean, let's go way back then. I almost didn't audition for the show because I was just like I was doing other self tapes and other auditions, and I was just running out of time to put something good together for you. So I was like, oh, I'm not gonna do it. I'm like, oh no, I just gotta do it. So it was like midnight, and I did something from my one person show. Like my self tape was a song about catheterization,
Right.
and I don't know. I booked a job, so
You booked the job from that.
so that's cool. But yeah, I'd been to Halifax before, like on like corporate gigs or whatever, but I'd never like spent a substantial amount of time. It was like a couple days or whatever. That's how those gigs work. Um, so this was my first time in like working in Halifax, and I've always wanted to work at Neptune ever since I was like studying it in high school drama class. And I was like, oh, that's and then the one time I was working in Halifax, I was like, I gotta work at this theater, and so that finally happened, and it happened with a really funny show. So good job, Jer. Good writing. You know?
I'm staying off camera. I'm staying off camera.
But yeah, the show was a lot of fun. The experience was awesome. The cast, both casts that you put together were just so great, so fun to work with, so supportive. Like we really lifted each other up because some of us went through some stuff during those runs, and
Yeah.
yeah, we were there for each other. So that was really great, and I made a whole bunch of new friends. I didn't know a lot of people, and people I heard of and all that kind of stuff. Got to work with them, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then the show itself was really cool.
It was
And it was. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say it was an insane production, really, because it was the silliest piece of theater, and very. I mean, I'm going to be honest. A panto. It's a panto, so it's flimsy.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
song, joke, 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 song, joke, 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 song. Maybe there's some characterization in there, but what was great about you and everyone in that show, um, were the serious bits you put into it,
Mm.
like
Well,
that.
and so
No,
serious.
but you actually, I'm joking aside, you did sort of create characters, and there were feelings in that
Yeah.
show, which is
Well,
what people caught on
there
to.
was real moments. But I remember like the first few days of rehearsal, and like my character's pretty big in the show, which so I was like in there, off the jump, and I was when I was reading, I didn't understand what the Buttons character was. Like I understood the role he plays within the structure of the story, but I didn't understand how wacky and goofy he's supposed to be. So I remember coming in, and I'm just like so trying to be like, like an actor. I mean, not like putting on anything, not being fake, but just being serious. Like these,
Yeah.
how do I make the most realistic moments with these words and interacting with these characters? And you're just like, that's not it. I don't remember what you said. It's just like,
I
but
don't
essentially that's what you said. And I was just like, oh my gosh, Jeremy's gonna regret hiring me. What did I do? But no, I figured it out. You helped me figure it out, and we created a lot of fun on that stage, and I had a lot of fun. Yeah.
Because I mean, the Buttons character that we renamed Bouton for this production, he's there to be a figure of fun. He's also there to tug at the heartstrings of the audience because he doesn't get the girl that he's in love with.
Yeah.
And that's so tragic. It's kind of like tragicomedy, and it's sort of, I always find it quite hard. I remember as a kid back in the UK wondering why on earth the princess would choose the prince
Right.
over Buttons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's long been argued. And I think in our production, I decided to accentuate that even more by having the prince be a complete idiot.
Oh my gosh, there was so many people. I would be like grocery shopping. They're like, "Were you in Cinderella?" I was like, "Yeah." Should have ended up with you, and then just walks away. I was like, okay.
It's true.
Just random strangers. It's like, yeah, she should have been with you. I was like, okay,
It's
thanks,
true.
ma'am. Thanks.
It's true. Oh my goodness. Well, it was a joy to have you there for that show, and then to have you come back again because we remounted it 6 months later, which I don't think is normal. I don't know what I was thinking, but it seemed like a good idea at the time, and it turned out to be a great idea because a whole bunch of people came to see it again, or came to see it for the first time in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
of 2019. So it must have been a very different city to be in those two times, because of course you were there in November, December into January, and then
Mm-hmm.
in July, August, I think.
Yeah.
Um, what was the city like for you? And
Um.
also, actually, let me ask the second part of my question. Both times you had to leave your beautiful family,
Mm-hmm. So, well, let's talk about
for which I
Halifax first.
apologize.
Yeah, I know. Well, Halifax is really cool. Um, it's really beautiful in the snow, and well,
Yeah,
we didn't have snow till like the end, but it was cold, you know, but you know, people were walking around. We just walking around in scarves and stuff instead of shorts and t-shirt. um,
yeah,
but not, you know, different things are open, I guess, when it's freezing cold versus when it's like warm. But I think the city feels the same. It has a more, I think it's more alive almost when it's the summer. Like there's just way more people walking around. There's way more, um, just like the restaurants are full, and it just feels like there's a lot going on
yeah.
in the summer. But really, it's just like wherever I'm living, I have to walk to the theater and then do my job and come back, and then find whatever I'm gonna do in and around Halifax to occupy myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's a pretty similar, like it's not crazy different from winter to summer.
No, no. How is your family? How are they? How have they been dealing with the whole pandemic thing?
Oh,
And if they're watching, go to bed. But also, hi.
they're I don't think they're watching. They're
Okay. What?
I don't think they care.
What is it they call me? What is it they call me? Your kids?
The crazy man from Crazy
Yeah,
Jeremy,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Crazy.
Something like that. Great.
Oh man, no, but they're good though. They're good, and they've been really really awesome through this whole pandemic, and you know, but also like they like doing their homework. I mean, Ezra not so much, but the girls like doing, Nash and Sophia like doing their homework. So we would, our routine was essentially, I'm waking up, I'm trying to prep everybody's breakfast, or sometimes they wake up before me and they're like already dressed and stuff, and they have like their screen. Once they learned how to do everything, they have their screens up and they're, okay, this is my homework for today. I need to print this and this and this. I'm like, okay, let's eat food.
Yeah.
And then Beth would go. I turned my office into Beth's office, so we would share it because she had all of her teaching to do. So
Right.
she would be kind of down here during the day while I was trying to do the kids' homework and their meetings and all that stuff. Um, and then, you know, we would have our outside time and all that stuff. If I had work to do, then like, you know, when their homework and stuff was done and Beth's day was done, we would swap. And then I would go try to do my work, editing or whatever, or self tapes and all that stuff. And then um, Beth would be with the kids.
Right.
So, but not every day was like that. But a lot of the days were like that, and sometimes we're just all together hanging out, and you know. But they really like having the homework to do gave them like some structure, which was good, and they enjoyed it. And then, you know, I was teaching them dance class in the garage. We have a little studio in the garage and stuff, and just trying to keep stuff moving. You know, going for our long walks, making sure Ezra gets his physio and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we had to do a lot of our Aaron kids appointment, like our physio and OT and speech and stuff, was virtual. Some of our sick kids was virtual, and some of it we still had to go in because some of the appointments you can't like actually
Right.
avoid it. You have to just go in.
Now you're mentioning sick kids and you're mentioning physio. Of course, some people watching this won't necessarily know what you're referring to. I wonder if you want to just fill us in. But also, I snuck on your Facebook and I grabbed a very public picture of your family that you've obviously posted. Is it okay if I bring it up?
Yeah. I mean, if it's
Because I want people to see just what a gorgeous family you have. There they are. I mean, other than that guy in the bottom left corner who looks
I
a
know.
little strange, but everybody else is wonderful. And there's another one here as well.
Oh,
Look at them. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so yes.
yeah. So my youngest, my son, was born with spina bifida and hydrocephalus. And basically, we were told he wouldn't have any function below the waist.
Right.
But as it turns out, He can move his legs, and he now has leg braces and a walker,
Yeah.
and he has canes too, and so he can do that. We just got fitted for his wheelchair, so he's super excited. He was awesome. Like we went for the fit. So him and I went for the fitting, and then Beth and the girls were on Zoom, so we were all they were still there, but like just because of protocols, they couldn't be there. And so Ezra went into the first chair we had to try and was off. Like, he figured it out. I showed him like one maneuver, just like if you went one way with one wheel and one way with the other, it would make like a sharper turn. But once he figured out this is forward and this is back, and this can like by the end of the hour he was pro. I was like, how did you
Awesome.
do this? And I was pretty impressed. I was pretty impressed with him. So he's very excited about his wheelchair.
Yeah.
So that's coming. I don't know, in 4 to 6 weeks or however long it takes. But anyway, so he was born with a lot of stuff. We lived as sick kids for the first 2 3 weeks of his life,
Yeah.
learning how to catheterize him because he needs to be cathed every 2.5 hours and all that stuff. And he went through his the very first day he was born was his closure surgery. So the spina bifida is essentially like, sorry, I'm like all over the map right now. Spina bifida is
Yeah.
essentially like where
Yeah.
the spine doesn't fully form.
Right.
There's this lesion, and then there's like all kinds of different variations of spina bifida, from not severe to some people don't even know they have it, to like super severe, and sometimes it's inside, sometimes it's outside, and all kinds of stuff. So Ezra's was pretty severe, and so he had to have surgery to close his back, plastic surgery, and all this stuff, to fix that up, and they did what they could, and they did an awesome job. All the teams at Sickkids are world class.
Yeah.
It's 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 pretty incredible because Beth and I did and do a lot of research. We're in a lot of spina bifida and special needs and differently able communities, and so we have access to all these stories, and we've seen a lot of scars from other babies, closure surgeries, and some of them are brutal. It was like, who's the team? And that's
Wow.
just that. But ours looks like his looks so good. Um, so we're so grateful to be at Sick Kids. Yeah,
I got to visit. I when I was in town, didn't I? I got to come and you were going to be around the corner from where I was holding auditions. This is after
yeah,
we did the show, and I got to come and see you and Ezra at Sick Kids. I'd never been in there before, of course, because I live here and I don't have any reason to go there. But it was so lovely to see you both and to see the place of which you speak so warmly as
mm.
well.
It was really
Um,
cool to have you. And he was excited to see you. I was like, Jeremy's coming. What?
I know, I know. It was a great break from auditioning actors, let me tell you.
Mm.
The So out of this situation, you've created a piece of art that I that we actually that and our audience knows we'd actually programmed to have you with us at Neptune, bringing your show. And here's a graphic for it, one that you have done. And
Do you have your graphic that your team
I,
did? Because
you
it's
know
so
what? Just
good.
as I was about to go live, I was looking for it and I couldn't find it because
Oh,
I'm not on
jeez.
my own computer tonight. So, but yeah, we created our season look for the year included a piece of artwork that is in line with every other show that I think
Mm.
is sort of modeled on this photo, and
Yeah.
it's a thing of beauty as well. But I find this picture so gorgeous to see your feet together and knowing knowing you, knowing Ezra a little bit, and knowing your love of dance, and knowing what the show's about as well, and how there's. Can you tell us a little bit about the show?
Yeah. Well, the show follows our journey from when we find out. So Beth was like 22 or 23 weeks, 22, I think, pregnant, and so we get the news that there could be a problem. There's
Yeah.
something wrong, and it goes from there all the way to and just him being born, our time at Sick Kids, challenges with raising him, raising our daughters, me trying to be in the arts, and it's the balancing act of trying to be an actor while raising a family who also has one of the children is differently abled and has some special needs. So it's that's kind of what the story is about. But the way I tell the story is I use monologues, and I use original music
Yeah.
and improvisational tap dance, and they kind of string and stream together to create this narrative and tell this story. And yeah, it started with that catheter song, that you gotta relax, because I wrote like that was just like I couldn't. So when you catheterize like a baby, sometimes it's hard to get the catheter to go in, like really hard sometimes. And this is one time, it was like I sang all the songs that I always sing him. Like we have this like repertoire, and they were done, and I couldn't get the thing to go in, and I started like making up this little tune. You gotta relax so I can get this thing in, and then he starts laughing, and then eventually like I just keep riffing on some stuff, and it goes in, and I'm like, that's like a cool song, and then I recorded it like just like the sketch of it, and I went down and I wrote the song out, and then I just threw it up online, and then people were like, you should turn this into a show. And then Scott, Scott Hurst, my Uncle Potts,
Uncle Potts,
my director, he was like, no, you really like you could make this show. I was like, nobody wants to hear this. Nobody. So, but I listened to him, and I wrote a show, and he guided me through it. He's like, you don't need any of this stuff, you know. he my dramaturg. So but we're both really happy with the product that came out of all of those workshops and whatnot. So,
well, I was thrilled that you were able to be booked by us to bring it back in what would have been this now postponed season. So as you know, we'll just get you in when we get going again, and we'll work out new dates for everyone. I see a message. One message has come in here. Hello from Green Island Brook, Newfoundland. We came to see Cinderella in Christmas and again in the summer. Thanks, Stacey. Loved it so much. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Cool. I know Scott is watching. In fact, I think he just sent a message. Look at that. I think he had a bit of a deal going that if you called him Uncle Potts, he was going to buy a 50-50 ticket for Neptune. Is that right?
Yeah. But that's what they I don't I think they called him that because I was doing Beauty and the Beast at YPT, and it just, you know, because then there's Mrs. Potts in our show who was Susan Henley, who's like,
oh my God, yeah.
So she's like crazy, but but then somehow they took that and they imprinted it on Scott, and then he was just, instead of Mrs. Potts, he was Uncle Potts, and I was about to correct them, and then I don't know if it was me or him or Beth. He was like, no, it's cute, leave it. And I'm like, okay, and that's it. He's Uncle Potts now.
Well, you know what? Now he will be for me too.
That's it.
I think I'm just going to call him Uncle Potts from now on. What a fabulous idea for a show. So as a one-person production, will this be live or virtual? Well, the show already exists, and you've performed it live, so that's correct, right? Do you have any plans to?
Yes. So the Theater Pass Mirai and I are collaborating on a one day or one night, I should say, presentation of the show, and like a workshop version of the show. But we're trying to do it in a way that is unique from the stage show, in the sense that, like, because now we're not in a theater. How do we make it? So we're still working that out. We're figuring it all out. But that's coming September 10th, I think. September 10th, and It should be really cool. I'm excited. So Scott and I are going in to see the theater, because we're gonna actually do it in the space, but we're gonna stream it in a way that is different from if you were in the theater watching the show.
Well, I look forward to hearing more about that. I know that same week is when Neptune's digital platform goes live as well, around about somewhere mid-September. So.
Nice.
We'll have to watch each other's stuff. I want to play a little bit of video because you wherever you go, I have noticed you create art and you create quite a bit of joy where you go. And while you were here, I think the first time with Cinderella, you snuck into a rehearsal studio and used my space. I think you
I
are.
mean, I asked the director of the show whose set I was on.
Yeah, I know. You asked Anthony Black.
I did.
Yeah.
But I didn't really tell him what I was gonna do. I was like, "Can I like come in here and make a video?" That's all I said. He's like, "Yeah,
And he let you?
yeah."
You could have been doing something really dodgy.
I could have,
Well, you didn't.
but I didn't.
He'd probably seen you on stage and was like, "Oh, it's going to be fine." Anyway, this is a video you made. Do you want to set it up? It's the one I mean, obviously.
Yeah. This is a song from Hamilton. I saw. So I always wanted to cover this song, and then I saw that set for what's the name of the show?
The Bridge.
The Bridge. It's literally a bridge. It's
Yeah. Chantilly Grant's The Bridge.
Oh, and so and Sam and I got to like see a sneak peek of the show.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good. Anyway, sorry. So I saw the set, and I was like, I have to get in here before I fly back home, and record a cover from Hamilton on this set because it just has that vibe.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so I didn't really officially know that I wasn't allowed in the theater at those hours. So, so I came in like at midnight or whatever, and I set up my camera and I set up my recording studio, and I recorded the song, and I made a video.
Let's take a look.
I am the one thing that I can control. I am inimitable. I am an original. I'm not falling behind or running late. I'm not standing still. I am blind in wait. Hamilton faces an endless uphill climb. He has something to prove. He has nothing to lose. Hamilton's pace is relentless. He wastes no time. What is it like in his shoes? Hamilton doesn't hesitate. He exhibits no restraint. He takes and he takes and he takes and he keeps winning anyway. He changes the game. He plays and he raises the stakes. And if there's a reason he seems to thrive and so few survive, then damn it, I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it. Life doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes. We living anyway. We ride and we fall. If there is a reason I'm still alive and so many have died, I'm willing to wait for it.
Awesome. I think it's amazing that you got those three backing singers to wear exactly the same clothes as you. How did you even pull
I
that
didn't
off?
even pay them money. They just pulled them on
What?
the street.
You can't do that. Hey,
But I didn't know the equity rules at the time, so
no,
I'm just
it's a great piece, and obviously you stuck that on social media. Is there any? Did anyone from Hamilton's get to see it? Do you know? Or
yeah. So Hamilton shared it on all of their
Oh.
socials, and I have a couple friends who like I have one of the dance captains for Hamilton, like one of the tours and stuff. So he made sure that Lynn saw it. Nobody said anything or sent me any messages, but he said he showed it to him. I don't know if that's for real, but
oh, I'm sure.
but I know that they shared it on their socials, which was cool.
That is very cool.
I was pretty excited, but I was geeking out a little bit. It's like,
I'm-
shoot, that's me.
I'm excited because I mean that's basically your audition tape for when Neptune gets to do Hamilton at some point in the future, right?
Right, because you're gonna beat Mervish to it, because they had their chance.
They had
Their chance to do a Canadian cast, and they
no,
didn't.
wait. They had their shot.
And they threw it away.
They gave it away.
They
No, they didn't give it away. Oh my goodness.
No.
Oh, bless them all. Bless everyone. Yeah, I thought that was fantastic, and I actually love the fact that when you do these things and you go to a space and you're like, oh, I'm just going to shoot a video now at midnight because I got nothing else to do because I'm missing my family.
That's exactly what it is. I don't have the babies to run around after. So
I know, and what are you going to do except Well, I tell you what. The other thing that you do, which I've found very inspiring, and I'm trying to hear what you do and learn from it, is that when you go to a city, you'll probably be embarrassed talking about this, but you kind of get involved a little in the community. So tell me about what you did in Halifax while you were here without embarrassing yourself. Just keep it brief.
Okay. So when I was in Halifax, I found a couple of soup kitchens to volunteer at and to help out at, and I was also volunteering at IWK, the Children's Hospital in Halifax, and just like reading to the kids and like doing like a story time, dancing and singing and reading for them.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and then, yeah, I was back and forth at a couple of the soup kitchens and just kind of helping out, serving, and trying to bring a smile.
What if we all did that? What would happen on this planet if everyone did stuff like that in their spare time?
Well, I mean, first, I think people need to have spare time. So I always gotta like.
Well, true.
But I do think it would be really. I think the world would change. It would be a much better place. But like that's like it's my dad energy because I'm always like taking care of the kids. So then when I'm away and I'm missing them and I have to put that somewhere. So that's where I put it. And I like to buy like $10. Like I take a percentage of what I'm gonna make on the contract, and I'll buy $10 like Tim Hortons gift cards, and as I'm walking to and from the theater, especially if there's like a homeless population.
You mean like those ones?
Those ones, yeah.
Yeah.
If there's a homeless population in the city I'm at, then I'll just pause, chat with whoever's there, and I'll give them the gift card. And if you do that, put the receipt in the card, because sometimes Tim Hortons is like, the card doesn't work, so people, they go and it's like, oh, it's empty. So, but if they have the receipt, it's like, no, but bam, here's the receipt. There's $10 on this card.
Oh, that's a good tip. Yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah. So I give them, and we just chat for a bit, and then.
And your family, I know, came to see Cinderella the first time, so they actually got to be with you for a week or so during that show. Mm-hmm. What was it like for you? I know what it's. I've been through the situation, the thing of my kids seeing me on stage for the first time, and I can't even talk about it without like becoming totally overwhelmed. So I'm going to be really unfair and ask you what it's like for you as a performer, Andrew, performing especially in a show like Cinderella, which is so kid friendly. What was that like? Because I remember them being up in the balcony and and watching it.
It was really wonderful. Because like I'm silly with them sometimes, but I'm also like I can't always be silly with them because I'm their dad, so I have to be like, and I have to make sure they're like being like good humans. But this show is just so silly the whole like they loved it. They were laughing because the show itself is silly. Everybody's amazing. They love the music. And then because of the interaction with the audience, and I do a lot of the interaction with the audience, they got to play with me while I was on the stage,
right,
from their seats, which is just a very unique thing for them. So that was really cool. It was just and just like even like when they had to yell stuff, and I shouted them out. I was like the person who I was like making fun of them while they were there. I was like, that was my daughter. That was my so and so like he said my name. Or
he mentioned me. He mentioned.
So it was really cool, but it's always cool performing in front of them. Like I remember, like they came out to Berkeley, California when I was doing Monsoon Wedding, and that was the first time, because they just my daughters were Ezra was still not old enough, but they were kind of old enough to finally sit down and watch a show, so they got to see that. That's the one.
I took a guess. The photo isn't titled, but I was guessing that was not once.
No, that wasn't once.
Yeah.
And they saw me do Cogsworth. So seeing me do Cogsworth at YPT was the first time they got to see me in like a principal character,
right?
And one of the characters that they love. So from the story of Beauty and the Beast. So that was the first time Ezra saw me. Like I prepped the whole cast. I'm like, listen, he's gonna be yelling "Dad" nonstop. As soon as I walk out on the stage, he's gonna be like, "Dad, that's my dad." Like, just be ready, and he doesn't have to come if that's gonna throw you off. I mean, and they were all awesome. Like, no, he's gonna come. It's amazing, and that's exactly what he did. He just yelled "Dad" the whole time. Was on the thing. And he did this. He did the same thing at Cinderella. He did the same thing when I was at Shaw. He did this is what he does. He just comes to the theater and yells "Dad."
When Samuel, my eldest, who's now 8, saw me do he saw me do Christmas Carol when he was way too young to be in the theater, but he watched from the back a little. And as soon as me, as Ebenezer Scrooge, got thrown on the ground by one of the ghosts, he screamed, because to him, Daddy was being attacked by a giant ghost puppet, and he had to be escorted from the theater. So we waited a year or two before we let him back in again. Scott Hurst, who we now know as
Uncle Potts.
He's gonna tell about the Cinderella drawing that made it into the show.
Oh, right. They loved, oh my gosh. So they drew a picture for Sam.
I wish I had a picture of it. I don't have a photo with it.
Oh, no, I didn't think so.
I'll post it.
Okay.
Later.
They drew a picture for Sam, Samantha Walks, who was Cinderella.
Yeah.
Because they love her. And then so they drew her, and then they sent it to her. But then you had the idea of somehow incorporating it into the show. So when Martha Irving, who they still call Fairy Godmother. Yeah,
me too. So, Dame Fairy Godmother.
That's right. We still send her random messages like, "Hey, mother." But so she is reading about Cinderella for the first time in her book, in her dossier, and when she gets to the description of Cinderella, the picture that they drew popped up, and it was this big secret. I didn't tell them. Nobody told them, and they were just like freaking out when they were watching the show. And then there was like, "That's my drawing. I drew that." What? So,
and it was giant on the big screen behind, and yeah,
it was huge. They were just so happy, and I was like, "Oh,
that's good. That's good." Okay, take me back a little to you as a child. What were you like as a child? I can only imagine. When did you first discover performing? And more importantly, when did you first discover that your feet do this amazing work by themselves, apparently, without any connection to the universe?
I fell in love with music and dancing because of Michael Jackson. And I just all the music. I was like doing the Thriller dance when I was 2, watching it nonstop, and like on whatever music channel was playing Thriller all the time. So that was kind of how I got into just loving music. And then my dad would always play like Temptations, Stevie Wonder, Ella, Louis, and that's kind of how that was like my foundation, Sade, musically, before I branched out to other things. So I always loved music because of that. And then, we started doing like the church plays and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so that kind of got me into singing on stage and acting, and I really liked it. And I remember, and my parents. So we were in when we were. So I'm from Montreal, and we were in like a poorer part of Quebec, and we were in Brassard. If anybody's from Brassard, and so when we moved to Ontario and we were older, my parents just wanted to keep us off the streets because they just assumed it'd be like Brassard. But we moved to Burlington, so it was nothing like Brassard because first of all it was like a little more like middle class, but also it was like the whitest place in the world, and so that was a shocker for all of us. But they still like, no, we have to put them in all these activities. So they put me in dance because because of Michael, and we all played the piano, and then we all had an instrument on top of that. So mine was the guitar, my sister was the sax, my other sister was the clarinet, my brother was the trumpet. I think they just wanted us to be this band, like they wanted us to be like the Jackson 5, or I don't know what they want. But anyway, so that was this. They had this dream that never happened.
Come on, it's not too late.
It never happened. But so I went through all this training and all this stuff, and I did the plays at school and in high school, and then I was like, Mom, I want to be an actor. And she's like, no. I was like, oh, okay. And Oh, CS. I remember CSI was on TV one night
Oh
because
yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna be, what I'm gonna do, and she's like, "Do that." So I was like forensics. She's like, "Yeah." This is a typical brown parent. So I was like, "Okay, forensic science it is," and I had good grades, so I got into the program at U of T at Mississauga, and yeah. So, but then I didn't obviously follow through with forensics. Um, I switched out into
Yeah.
theater, which was a whole other thing because I remember I was doing pretty well actually in forensics, and then there was an award show, and there was a speech that was on TV, and I started like bawling. Um, and I knew I just like, and I'm a spiritual person, and we pray to God a lot, and I was just like, this is like a whole thing. God's putting it on my heart, like you're in the wrong place right now. You were in the
Right.
wrong place. You need to go where I was trying to put you. So, so I was
Right.
like, okay, okay. Well, I
This was,
told them
but this was young adult Andrew
this was first year
on a path.
university, Andrew.
Yeah, right. On a path,
Mm-hmm.
speech in an award show that you happened to be watching,
Yeah,
got you right in the feels,
yeah,
and made you go, whoa, whoa, wait a second.
yeah.
I see.
And then yeah, no, that was, and I woke up and I told my parents. I'm like, listen, I'm switching into theater, uh, and they were like, there was a big fight, and they said if you do that, don't come home. So it was like a whole thing. I had like my whole thing planned out. I called my best friend. I'm like, listen, I might have to come and stay with you. I don't know what's happening. But I switched into the theater program. I auditioned for it. I didn't actually get in. I got waitlisted.
Right.
But my parents like turned around quick. Like they weren't gonna. It was an empty threat. They were upset. They were upset. But but once I did it, they were like, well, okay, we're not gonna kick him out of the house. I was like, hey, good. Um,
Yeah.
but like they've been serious their whole life. Like if they said they're gonna do something, they do it. So this was like one of the first times where I was like, well, good thing they didn't do that. But no, they've been they are now my biggest supporters.
Yeah.
I can't do this gig without them. They like, because Beth and I are a team. So when Beth goes to work, like essentially what our schedule is I'll wake up, I'll make breakfast for Beth and the kids. I'll pack their lunches and all that stuff and get them ready for school. And Beth has a long day of teaching, so she wakes up, her food is there, she eats it, and she goes off to work, and that's our arrangement. And so when I'm not there, I don't want all of that stuff to fall on her plate when she's
Right.
gonna be the only parent. You know what I mean? So like when she
Yeah.
comes home, there's not me and her or whatever. Like even though there's other people in the house, like she's still the only parent. So then I'll have my parents come in, or my auntie Hannah, who helped raise me, and they would like trade days. So they would come in at like 5:30 or 6 in the morning and
Yeah.
and do all the Andrew stuff, so that
Yes.
Beth could still kind of just like have some sense of normalcy. So they're really one of the biggest reasons. Them and Beth are like some of the biggest reasons why I can actually pursue this and still have a family
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. So
Your mom came to Halifax, right?
she did come to
I got
Halifax.
I got to meet her a couple of times, and
Mhm.
so adorable, so
Yeah,
sweet.
she loved the show. She loved it.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
came both times. Yeah,
Yeah.
she came with my family when Beth and the kids came,
Yes.
and then she came
Yeah.
with my eldest sister.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
second time. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
In the summer.
Yeah.
So she got to see the show twice with all the changes and all the
With all the
different
changes. All the changes. Let me show you a picture and tell me what this meant to you.
ways. Yeah, the Shaw Festival.
When
So
were you there?
I was just no, it's been a while now. I was there November, December. Yeah, I think. Oh, October.
2019, right?
2019. I
Yeah.
forget when we started. I think we started mid-October.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The holiday.
Yeah, but it was a holiday show. We did Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I can't like the Shaw contracts and the Stratford contracts are really tough to do. Well, first of all, like I don't get seen for those, but so there's that.
Right.
But let's say I was getting seen and getting these offers. They're too hard. They're too challenging to do because I need to be at home and then traveling back and forth for like 8 months or whatever the length of those contracts are. I live in Mississauga. It's an hour and a half, 2.5 hour depending on which theater, kind of drive. And
Yeah.
so the Shaw Festival was at least an hour and a half, one way. So,
Wow. Yeah.
but by doing the drive, I was able to get everything like breakfast, lunches, do the hair, get the kids to school, and then go drive off to rehearsal. So it was exhausting. Like it was tiring,
Okay.
but it was worth it because I still got to like do that stuff and then do the Shaw stuff. Yeah, so I was in the ensemble for Holiday Inn, and it was a lot of tap dancing, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But a lot of other dancing too, which was great. I'm glad I could still do it.
I mean, I don't want to dwell on the fact that you accepting the Shaw contract meant that you weren't available for my theater. I mean,
You didn't make no offer though.
oh, come on, let me just tease you once. That's because that contract was offered way before I was ready to make any offers. But
yeah,
I know.
but also it's like I don't know. It was the first time the Shaw did this like short season where I could go in and do one show.
Yes.
For 2 to 3 months.
And so much better for you than schlepping yourself all the way to Halifax again.
And there was another show I was in the mix for, and I was just like, this might be my only chance to get Shaw.
Yeah, go. My goodness, go for it.
So I had to take it.
Absolutely.
And
everyone, I was teasing. I think Andrew and I know each other well enough that I can make that joke. I'm gonna get letters. You're so mean. So mean to
Kim
Andrew.
Rampersand's gonna be like, Jeremy.
I know. Everyone is. No, I was so happy that you got that contract. That was really good for you. But I still, I can't believe that was the schedule that you were then on, and you were commuting.
Yeah, but it all kind of worked out because the regular Shaw, we were real too. The regular Shaw season.
You were totally real, just so you know.
The regular Shaw season was happening.
Yeah.
So then we couldn't like start rehearsal at 10. Whenever so sometimes we did. So sometimes I didn't actually get to I got all the morning stuff done except getting them to school. So I would get everything done and then just start my drive. But sometimes we didn't start till like 12 or whatever because the spaces weren't available. In which case I could get them to school and all kinds of stuff could get done, and then I would drive off to Shaw. I had my portable steamer. I was like steaming in the car. I was like,
well, my next question was going to be, and this is where I start to sound like one of your aunts. When you do something like that, though, or come to Halifax or whatever, and you've got such a people that know what you do for your family, and happily so, and rightly so. But do you ever get any time for you, or have you decided that right now you time is something that can just wait until later? Do you take care of yourself as well, Andrew? Answer me honestly.
I try. I don't do a good job of it. But like my family know, like the reason if I'm like exhausted and I'll still wake up in the morning because I'm waking up to serve my family. And I like that. I like doing that. I love that. It does get exhausting sometimes, and sometimes it's frustrating. It's like because sometimes they'll be like, like the kids will leave a mess. It's like you walked right over that mess. It's an extra thing for me to do. You could have cleaned that one up.
Yeah.
But, so sometimes I'll get upset about like that kind of stuff. But I love serving my family. But the me time normally happens after bedtime.
Right.
But especially with this pandemic, what happens is when bedtime hits, Beth and I are toast. Like we're so exhausted that I'm trying to do work. And I just want to sit down and eat dinner or watch a show, and then I'll just fall asleep on the couch, and then it's like, oh, it's 3:00 in the morning now. I need to go to bed. I didn't do any of the stuff I had to do. So
you just described my typical evening, including the waking up at 3 a.m. on the couch with Netflix paused.
Well, and then it's deciding like, do I just sleep on the couch now, or do I try to go upstairs and sleep in? So
Yeah,
it
it's
depends on
good.
the time. Beth and I have an if I wake up before 2, then okay, come to bed. But if it's after 2, just stay on the couch, because then I'll wake her up and then she's gonna have a messy sleep and all that stuff.
We have an arrangement now here that when I fall asleep, which is many times a week on the couch, Melissa cannot come downstairs to wake me up because it scares the shit out of me. And I'm a 52-year-old overweight middle-aged man. You don't want to be making me jump. I could pop right off that couch and into another world. So the arrangement now is, if you hear me snoring on the couch, just leave me there, and if I wake up, I'll get up. Because if she wakes me up, I'm like, geez, because it's the middle of the night. Why is someone it's a burglar, obviously. So there you go. There's a nice little picture for you. We're nearly out of time, Andrew, but I do want to get to at least another little video here of you singing. I'm going to play it, and then you can tell us about it afterwards, okay?
Sure.
So we're going to go from images of you and I later on tonight, asleep on our couch, to this.
And staring out to sea, and if a door be closed, then a row of homes start building, and tear your curtains down, for sunlight is like gold, and you better be you, and do what you can do when you're walking on moonbeams and staring out to sea.
Ah, sounds great. I also love the fact if you weren't watching earlier in the show, this joke will mean nothing, but I'm going to say it anyway. I also love the fact that your 3 backing singers this time had a costume budget and all wore different clothing. Like, how do you get the same 3 guys back every time? It's amazing.
They're pretty good. I have them on my speed dial. So.
Yeah, I bet you do. Just for one of your videos, can I be like the extra dude in the back? Come on.
Sure.
What are you going to say? You're going to say no, right? Of course you're not going to say no. Just for a little bit, going boom, 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 boom.
When we cover My Girl,
okay,
that's what it'll be.
Everyone, I think that was a definite no.
No.
I feel it. I feel it. I just want to take a pause, Andrew, before we start to wrap it up. And I'm notoriously slow at wrapping things up because I enjoy myself so much because it's a pandemic and I get to talk to people. But I do want to take a pause to thank our proud supporter, Support for Culture. Nova Scotia Gaming have been with us from the beginning, supporting us in this endeavor called Off the Leash. And we are so grateful to them. So thank you to them for their ongoing support. I also want to mention that in the last week, we've also started a fundraising campaign here at Neptune. I wonder why. What could be the reason? So we're asking you to help us fly again. And one of the first things that we're doing is a 50-50 fundraiser. I checked on the website on the link that's right there, neptunetheatre.com 50/50. And already, after just a few days, you're going to take home at least $3,000 as of right now if you win. But I tell you, that's going to go up into the tens of thousands. So buy your ticket now. They're like $5 each. It's so simple. I actually bought some and I'm not allowed to. So I'm not obviously going to, if I win, I'm not going to keep it. But the No, I promise I'm not. I've said it publicly. But it's so simple. You just literally go to that link, and you have the buying options, and you just click on the number of tickets you want, and it's done, essentially. You have to give your credit card. Thanks for helping Neptune, everyone. Andrew, it's so lovely to have you visit with us on my little show. And I hope that soon everything just returns to some kind of normalcy. So we can have you back at the very least with your own show, but having you back on our stage again in one of our own shows would be a joy. You know that. You know I want you back, and we'll have you back.
Yeah, I can't wait to be back. It's gonna happen. It's we have to
say that again. Just say it again.
It's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
We just gotta be patient. We gotta be smart.
Okay, Dad. It sounds so positive when you say it. I believe it when you say it. But no, I think you're right. Right. It's gonna take a while. It's gonna take until at least the summer of 21 when we're back. But yeah. Stay safe.
You too.
And look after yourself. Wait a second. Look at this. I think that counts.
So hold on. Uncle Potts was one of the people I trained to do the Andrew chores when I was away.
Oh, yes.
So that's how Uncle Potts learned how to do catheterization and putting on leg braces and all of that stuff. So the schools know him and everything. So he's one of our backup peoples. He came out in the summer to see Cinderella. So he did get to see it, which was great. I was glad he got to see it. So
yeah,
but he didn't get to see me in once though. But that's okay.
You gonna let that one go?
No. Okay. No, I mean of course.
He's gonna give you such grief over that comment.
He knows how bad. Like I auditioned for once 10 times.
But where was once?
So I finally booked the show at Theatre St. John's. So that was my first time in Newfoundland, and it was so awesome. It was so awesome. I booked the character Billy. I did book once before. So I auditioned for like all the productions, but it's like a super white show. So I was I didn't even get callbacks. But then Neptune was doing once, and and Scott Christian was accompanying David Connolly in one of David's classes, and I was taking David's class, and after the class, because they have my resume and everything too. This is the first time I met Scott. He was like, "No, you're great, blah blah blah. If you can play all these instruments on your resume, you need to come audition for once." I was like, "Yeah, I'm kind of done auditioning for once. Nobody message received, white show. I get it. I don't. Okay." He's like, no. I don't want this to be like that. I want I'm working hard. I'm convincing George. I don't want this to be a white show. It's like, okay. So then I was like, okay, I'll try. And then he sent me all the materials. He's like, listen, learn everything. It's like, we learned everything. So I walked in there with 6 songs and 5 instruments. I walked in. What did I had the piano, guitar. I had the mandolin, the ukulele, and the bass. So
this was at the Toronto auditions for Neptune's once.
Yes.
So right. Okay. Yes. Just so everyone understands. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. So I walked in there and I did, and I had a pretty solid Irish accent already just from my Riverdance time, because like I try to learn accents is a thing I do. So anyway, so I walked in there and I booked the show. I was like, oh my gosh, and then I booked Monsoon Wedding at Berkeley Rep. And 0 people thought I should do once. I was the only one like, but this is once. I'm never gonna get to do this again. And they're like, this is Berkeley. You have to go to Berkeley. So I was like, So then I did, and it was amazing. It was good. But,
I'm trying to think what if you and I were friends back then or even knew each other, what would I have said? I would have probably said the same as everyone else.
It wasn't. People didn't even like blink. I was
Yeah.
like, so I could go to Neptune and do once, or I could do this huge giant musical called Monsoon Wedding at this huge giant theater in the United States called Berkeley Rep. It's like go. You have to go to
Yeah. But the good news is that, you know, it didn't matter even if you did upset the previous artistic director, because, you know, he left a year or so later and the new guy came in and hired you. So it's like back
And
to
I
zero.
still got the dream to finally work at Neptune.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now you've just reminded me of that story. I shall have to tease you about that next time I see you. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think it was definitely the right decision. And you got to do, so you ended up doing, you know, getting the best of both worlds, really.
And I got to
Yeah.
do,
And you got to do once anyway. Yeah.
What?
And you got to do once anyway.
I got to do it.
Yeah. So yeah.
I love that.
Awesome.
Oh my God.
See, I said like 4 minutes ago I was going to say goodbye to you, and then we found another story to talk about. This is what I'm saying. I'm so bad at ending these shows. Let me just check finally for messages. I'm a backup peoples. All right. And Laurel says, it's great to see you, Andrew. Missed you at Dance Fest, but hopefully we will next year. Stay safe. Yes.
Thanks, Laurel. That's Ryan's mom.
Yes, I know. Okay. I think she and I are Facebook friends. I not Ryan. He never messages. Laura, the son, never messages. He never calls. Ryan was Prince Charmaine in Cinderella, or Shaman. Is it Shaman or Charmaine?
Charmin. You wrote it. It's named after the toilet paper.
And you know how much trouble I got into for getting when I first did it, because in England I think it's even spelt differently. There's a toilet paper, and so I wrote it from memory and didn't check the spelling, and then I realized that it was wrong in the script. So everyone thought I was saying Charmaine, and anyway, terrible. I'm such a hack. All right, and look,
I won an award for your hack writing. So
you did.
You never messages. Ryan Brown, call your mother.
Call your mother, Ryan. He did actually show up at there was a Peter Pan cast Zoom meeting reunion a week or so ago, and I went in, and he showed up for like 5 minutes in the middle of a shift at the bar he works at. He looked fine, looked a little tired, a little sweaty, and he was wearing, he just taking his mask off, but he didn't look princely at all. But he was working and doing what he's got to do. So, and he seemed fine. But anyway, back to you, Andrew. It's been lovely to chat with you. Thank you for being here. And just stay exactly where you are while the title sequence plays at the end, so I can say goodbye to you off camera. Okay. Thanks for watching, everyone. We've been working on the guests for next Thursday's show, and I think today we worked out what that show is going to be. I am very excited. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but let me tell you, it's hearkening back to something in Neptune's past by the look of it, and got some great guests coming on to talk about something that happened a decade or two ago. That's all I'm going to say. I'm like a tease. Thanks for being here, and we will see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.